Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, this is a big deal here. We have this great new resource for us in America that's giving us an edge that we haven't had in a long time in other areas, and how we make this decision is really, really important. I appreciate very much different states, different perspectives, but this is a big deal. And I want to first say to Mr. Smith, thank you for DOE not only taking seriously the need to move forward, but understanding that you need to update your study on economic impact for America, and the fact that you are doing that. And I don't know why we wouldn't wait for that to happen if we want to make sure we're doing this the right way. So, but I want to thank the Secretary and thank you for doing that. You know, we know jobs are created when we build export facilities, right? But we also know, according to the Charles River Associates, that using natural gas to increase American manufacturing output is twice as valuable to the overall economy as just jobs in general, and creates 8 times more jobs than exporting. So I don't know why we are not very concerned about what Mr. Cicero is saying here. You're the end user, right? You're the guys that buy this. You're the guys that buy it. You're here and you're buying it for industrial consumers, but we also have a whole lot of consumers that are concerned about heating oil and costs and so on. So the consumers, as you said, are taking all of the risks on this. So I'd like you to expand a little bit more on this from the standpoint of leveraging this great resource. And I get it from an oil and gas standpoint. You want to sell to the highest user price. I get that. China says, we'll take it for $16 rather than American producers at 4 or 5. And I mean, I get that. But from an American standpoint, I mean, when I'm hearing, Mr. Cicero, when you're saying that, you know, China buys it for $16 last year and then turns around and subsidizes it, so their folks pay $1.78. So now they're paying $1.78 and you're paying $16. And so how is that good for American jobs? And so I'm desperately concerned about manufacturing jobs and getting that 8 times leverage here for America. I don't want a China first policy, which I'm afraid this is. I want an American first policy. So if you could speak to that. And then also on Australia, to me, it's not the size of the country, it's how the government handled the issue, which is exactly what this bill does. This is Australia-like in terms of the bill. And I am very concerned. I appreciate differences, but I have to say, to me in history, folks are going to look back at this and decide, you know, what were we doing here in terms of Americans and American jobs?
Well, thank you for that question. When we come to this issue, we are not thinking short term about, and particularly looking at the NYMEX and seeing $3 prices out for the next several years. That is not the point. We are looking out long term. And there's references to how much gas we have, okay? Now, we look at 10 years out. And when we look at the EIA technically recoverable resources, you know, we have a 58-year supply. We don't have a 100-year supply. So in terms of jobs, you are correct. We can take that gas and create 8 times more permanent jobs than if you export that gas. We recently looked at the permanent jobs created by the, export terminals. Great. Any job is a good job, okay? Make no mistake. But construction jobs are short term. These terminals, the 7 terminals, first up, create 1,890 permanent jobs. And when that gas goes offshore, it's gone, okay? All we're doing here is let's emphasize that we need to be looking long term, and each approval puts new demand on the marketplace that will, every study says the same thing. It will increase the price of gas and it will increase the price of electricity. And we cannot forget that there's 2 parts. We're going to understand that, as I said earlier, manufacturing is subsidized in these countries that we are competing with, the real world. And so we have to be sensitive. It's not just the price that we're paying here in the United States that matters to manufacturers who compete around the world. So we need to come to this with great care. Now, for those of you who feel that we never have to worry about affordable supply of natural gas, then you should be all for putting in place the full implementation of the Natural Gas Act that has these cautions, the ongoing review of these terminals, these applications, monitoring, and the DOE having a requirement to revisit that and be sure that it's not impacting the economy. Because if you feel we have so much gas, then you know then that trigger will never happen. So you should be supportive and not afraid of fully implementing the Natural Gas Act.